You're listening to Brigade Radio 1.
Welcome to the Antisocial Show.
Hi everybody, it's Tyson. Thank you for listening. Many, if not all, of the next episodes of Antisocial Show will contain a message at the beginning of the program from host of Combat Radio, head of BrigadeRadio1.org, Ethan Dettenmeyer, future guest of Antisocial Show. So I'll just step over here and let Ethan explain what's going on.
While he's away,
Yes, sir.
gives me an opportunity to, again, direct everyone to Ticketmaster for the fantastic November 17th rock and roll epic extravaganza featuring the members of Guns N' Roses, Typo Negative, Danzig, Rad, Quiet Riot, along with the cast members from The Flash, Justice League Action, The Simpsons, Futurama, and many more, including the Avengers and Avengers Assemble. You can also find information for that on the Combat Radio Facebook page or Combat Radio Twitter page, but just go to Ticketmaster, enter Combat Radio Christmas Carol, and get your tickets, or you can go to GoFundMe.com/combat-radio-Christmas-9, with Christmas and 9 spelled out, and you can make a donation to our annual Christmas event for social services and get yourself a VIP backstage ticket pack.
Mm-hmm.
There.
Be sure to follow Combat Radio on Twitter. That is COMBATRADIO, and also Brigade Radio 1 on Twitter.
Yes, please.
Which is
where we are.
We are at, yes. Well, that's BrigadeRadio1.org. You can follow them on Twitter at BRIGADERADIOONE. All right, thank you, Ethan. Again, thank you for listening, and be decent to each other. Peace.
They're coming. They're coming. They're coming. They're coming to get you.
And here's your hosts, Underblock and Tyson Sater.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Antisocial Show, a show that happens to believe in the concept of East meets West. I am Hunter Block, and he is
Tyson Sainer.
Good evening, Tyson.
Hello.
How are you tonight?
I'm doing fine. How about you?
I'm okay. It is Monday. It is May 13th, 2019.
And I am in the future. It is 12:45 a.m., and it is Tuesday the 14th.
All right. 13th here, 14th there. Just to give people an idea of when this was recorded, because it'll be a while before they hear it.
Yes, because for all you listeners out there, because we are so generous, we have a ton of content that has to go out before this one does. So this one is, by the time you hear it, it's like kind of like the future right now, but you'll eventually get to this this presence when we do put it out, or when Tyson gets to edit it and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm. we have episodes that haven't been released yet. Currently.
So essentially, we are kind of like the people in Starship or Star Trek Enterprise that came back to talk to the Xindi to basically destroy the humans in a temporal Cold War. So we're kind of like those people that, and you guys are the past, so we're talking to you, so we're from the future. So and I can tell you right now that nothing has changed in the future. We still don't have flying cars.
Right. Although the Kevin Smith flying car short film shows up in my recommended still.
Yes.
It just showed up the other day. Actually, it showed up colorized, which,
Really?
Yeah, which I'm kind of confused about. Maybe it was, and it also, by the way, it was, its upload date was like, it said 3 years ago, so maybe it's an update of it.
Maybe.
I don't know. Do you remember when the flying car, the closest thing we had to a Clerks sequel was the short film that Kevin Smith showed on Leno?
Yes.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I like that. It's pretty funny. That's all I have to say about that. all I have to say.
And then we
about
got
that.
Clerks too.
And then we got Clerks 2 sometime later. And then we were promised a Clerks 3. Well, we weren't really promised. I mean,
Which will never happen, unfortunately.
Really? No Clerks 3 ever?
I don't think so. I think because the one cast member passed away, and then there's another one who refuses to do it again. So, and Kevin Smith said he wanted, the original people in the movie, and since he can't get everyone aboard, that's why he's not doing Clerks 3. Or so I've been told.
All right. Yeah, I hadn't really heard much about. I'd kind of stopped paying attention after a while, and I just kind of wait until something actually comes out, and then I might see it. Because there's been too much anticipation built up over things that haven't turned into anything for me to get excited about them anymore. So that's all right.
This is true.
I only have so much energy.
Well, I mean, this is true. I mean, how many times did you get super duper excited for a movie that everyone hints was going to come out and never actually came out? And then you get you get so upset by it because I'm sure you talked about it on social media a few times, and then but then no movie.
I mean, probably. It hasn't happened that often, but I know it has happened. I'm sure it happened more before social media. Like before there was social media, I'm sure that I probably read about a film that was going to come out in maybe Fangoria or something, and then it didn't show up in my region, or it was hard to find. What's a good example? I'm trying to think. Hardware. I saw Hardware. So Richard Stanley, the guy who directed Hardware, made another film called Dust Devil right after that. And this is before he did Island Dr. Moreau. Now, I haven't seen Dust Devil, but I read, there's articles on it that I read in Fangoria.
Good movie.
Yeah, it sounded good. It sounded like he had a real tough time getting creative control on that film.
Yep.
According to the articles. I don't know, the interviews and things. So, and then, of course, the Island of Dr. Moreau, that whole bit, that whole thing, we talk about that. We have that. Have you seen that documentary yet? The Lost Souls, The Doomed Journey of Richard Stanley's Island of Dr. Moreau, whatever the heck it's called?
I did not.
Okay. That's fine. It's one to, I think it might still be on Amazon Prime.
I'll check it out, though.
They've been recommended.
I'm glad you brought up Fango, Fangoria. For all you millennials out there who might be listening to us, before obviously the invention of the internet, where now all information is more or less at your fingertips, we had to look up horror movies in Fangoria. And now that was pretty cool because you got them, at any newsstand, or you can have them mailed to your house, and they had cool pictures and bios and things like that, different things to read on stories or movies that were coming out. And they had cool merchandise too.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty vivid pictures too. Some people would say horrifying, but I was always drawn to the special effects aspect of it. In fact, I'll tell you, the first time I saw a Fangoria on the shelf, it wasn't 1982, but there was a picture, a still from John Carpenter's The Thing, which might have been released on video at that point, because it definitely wasn't 1982 when I saw the Fango on the shelf. But there was a picture of the guy's head before with the strand that goes out and latches on before it sprouts eye stalks and legs, just the head, right? And so I was on the cover, and it was oh, I can look at this, and it's in a horror film, these things go by so quick, your mind just kind of creates its own narrative about how real it looks. But when you get to actually look at the frame and just dissect it, you can go, oh, okay, I could see how somebody made that. That's pretty cool still, Somebody made that, I mean, that was kind of the thinking in my head. So it's one of the reasons why I was gravitated towards zombie films, was because makeup artists like Tom Savini. So
yes.
Yeah, so I got Dawn of the Dead on VHS because I knew he had contributed to that a long time ago. So this is my introduction to horror films is basically through makeup.
Yeah, mine too. Did you see the Fango magazine when they had the Reanimator in it? Now those were some sick pictures.
It sounds familiar. I'm sure I've seen pictures of Reanimator stuff in Fangoria. Is it now? Do you say Fangoria or Fangoria?
I say Fangoria, or I just say Fango.
See, I say Fangoria now. Like I might have said Fangoria in the meantime, but and I think I started off saying Fangoria, but I used to say Fangoria because I didn't know what it was, because I never heard anybody say it out loud. And then I believe
I've heard people call it that.
But then I got on VHS. There was a Fangoria issued convention kind of footage compilation thing, and had interviews with Elvira and various things things I can't remember for some reason. But it was something made for people who like the magazine, and they were calling it Fangoria, and I was like, oh, is that how it's pronounced? So I just started calling it Fangoria after that. I don't know. It's a made up word, so you never hear anybody say it unless you know somebody else who knows of it. So it's you know what I mean? So
and then
turn on the news and be like, this tonight in Fangoria there was, or tonight in Fangoria, the banana republic of Fangoria. Yes.
When I was a kid growing up in middle school and shit like that. I'm sorry, I know you have to bleep that out. Mm-hmm. There were at least a few people that I would actively talk about with about Fangoria, and I mean there were people, but now there's no one to talk to about that publication because. Again, it's all at your fingertips. Do you purposely go to Barnes and Nobles anymore to buy a Fango magazine? I know they still got them, but exactly, I don't.
I do have a box somewhere with a bunch of old ones in it, though. And by old ones, I mean ones from the late 80s, early 90s, mostly. Yeah.
You need to hold on to those. Those are valuable.
Oh, yeah. There's one of there's one that's a cover of the female Cenobite.
Oh, okay. Nice.
There's one that's from Gremlins 2, the new batch. But I can't remember which gremlin it was, but it was really gnarly, and bumpy. It wasn't the vegetable one. Oh, yeah, no, actually. It might have been a close-up for the vegetable one.
Mr. Vegetable.
Yeah, do you remember the vegetable gremlin?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Anyway, so was there a... Christopher Lee was in that movie as well.
Now, here's my question oh, God, this has been bugging me for ever now, okay? And now I had a particular thing that, I was going to bring up in a second, but because now I'm confused, okay? So they had Gremlins 2, the new batch, right? Obviously.
Right.
And they were messing around with the genetics and stuff. They were mutating themselves. Now, in part 1 and part 2, the one with the stripe on its head was always the leader, he was the more intelligent one, right?
Yeah.
So
Stripe. I think it was called Spike. But yeah. But
yes. Mm-hmm. And your connection's a bit poor.
Oh, yours was too for a second, but it's recovered.
Oh, you're clearing up now.
Okay, I can hear you just fine.
Okay, so that one gremlin though took that brain potion and became smart. So now does he become the leader of the gremlins now, kind of?
I don't know. Or is he a leader? Or is he just the mouthpiece? Is he like the Metatron?
Well, maybe he was just
which means one of them has to be a god. So I don't know, but he was Tony Randall. I remember that. It was Tony Randall doing the voice, the intelligent gremlin. Yeah, and also now, by the way, is the intelligent gremlin a threat? Does he need to melt with all the other gremlins, or can he go on to lead a life among other human beings because he's got refined ways? Anyway, sorry.
Well, I think he probably could if reasoned with, but basically he just wanted to help the other gremlins get out into the city and wreak havoc.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing too. The gremlins, okay, so in Gremlins 1, the spoilers for Gremlins 1, by the way. They sabotage stuff, mostly, it seems. Except they did actually apparently kill somebody with, syringes, or, stabbed a guy, or maybe they just stuck him in after the fact. The thing is that they usually kill through mischief, right? I mean, they don't eat people.
No, they don't eat people, and that's exactly right. They kill people through their the mischief deeds they do, when they messed with the chair and the old lady went flying up the stairs and out the window.
Polly Holiday, yeah, Flo from the sitcom Alice.
Yep, but you know what though? I don't feel bad for that old lady because she got her comeuppance. You know what I'm saying? She got exactly what was coming to her because she was a nasty person to begin with.
And then what was it, Mr. Futterman? Is that his name?
Yes.
The guy with the
yep.
with the 100% American tractor or whatever the heck it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the town drunk, essentially.
Well, he had this thing about foreign machines too. Like he didn't trust foreign machines.
Yep.
And it's like it was the guy.
No.
In the novelization of the Gremlins, they made it a point to to point out that it was a 100% American machine that was about to kill him, basically, and that was the irony. Of that.
Well, do you know what the funniest part of that whole movie was?
Oh, was it hi ho hi ho?
No, that was pretty funny.
Okay, no.
No, the funniest part of that movie, and it wasn't even the woman flying through the air and flying out the window or whatever. So the two, actually, no, I take that back. The two funniest scenes in that movie. The first one was when he goes out and checks his antenna and it's all been twisted and bent out of shape and stuff. And then the gremlins come. This is Mr. Flutterman, and then the gremlins come crashing through his house, and they're kind of like backing up, and the gremlins are laughing as they kind of like plowed over them. Right. That was the one funny moment. Second funny moment was when Santa Claus comes rolling out of the house and all the gremlins are on him, and they're like, he's begging the sheriff for help, and the one gremlin's like, ho, ho, ho.
It's been a while since I've seen Gremlins 1. I need to see that again.
Hysterical. See, but that was like good movies of the 80s, though.
Yeah, it was like 1984, I think.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what movie was trash.
Sorry, yeah? What's a movie that was trash? What was a movie called trash?
Total disappointment. Dune.
Oh, Doom. Dune?
Mm-hmm.
David Lynch's Dune? Had you not seen that before?
I saw it once like once or twice when I was a kid, because I remember having like the sandworm action figure, believe it or not. It was like an obscure toy. And it was like this, kind of like this big right here.
Mm-hmm. It's a giant.
And it was just this.
Yeah, phallus.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Yep. It was a giant sandworm of Dune.
Are you sure that's what it was? It was
yes,
a licensed toy. It wasn't just this giant phallic thing. I'm teasing.
Nope. It was a licensed toy.
Okay, cool. I didn't know they would make one.
I don't remember the box though. I don't remember what the box looked like. I just remember the toy basically, and basically it didn't do anything special. It was just like this big rubber worm with the three thing, like its beaks or whatever that were open, trying to kill somebody. But that's all it basically was.
Giant worm.
Yep, its mouth basically.
Yeah.
So anyway, I saw it again a few weeks ago on Amazon, and I'm like, okay, I need to watch this movie from an adult perspective.
Sure.
Because I remember like bits and pieces of it, obviously. So I'm watching this movie, and I just couldn't do it anymore. Like I couldn't finish it. It was killing me.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Did you watch the director's cut, or did you watch the original theatrical release?
I think I watched the original theatrical release.
Okay, that's probably pretty. That's a good.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
Director's cut
the cast. Don't get me wrong. The cast is a stellar cast. I mean, Patrick Stewart was part of the cast.
Gurney Halleck. Yeah.
Yes, the dude from Quantum Leap.
Scott Bakula. No, I'm kidding.
Yes. It wasn't Scott Bakula. It was that dude that.
Dean Stockwell.
Yes, it was that dude. He was part of the cast.
Who's been in a couple, at least one other David Lynch movie. He was in Blue Velvet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You should see that one if you get a chance. That's a twisted movie. So yeah, it had Dean Stockwell. I also had Jürgen Prochnow. Is that his name?
I think so.
The guy who played Duke Leto?
Yes. Mm-hmm. But I mean, aside from the cast, which was phenomenal, I just couldn't do it anymore. What really lost me was when they kill the Duke, and the bad guys are overrunning the Imperial Guard or whatever, the Royal Guard, Duke's Guards or whatever. Mm-hmm. And here comes Patrick Stewart running out with a gun and all of his men, and he's got the dog in his arms, and he's like, "Onward to freedom!" And they go running off in the distance.
What part of the film was this? This is early in the movie, or?
Oh yeah, this is early in the film.
Oh, I don't remember that at all. I do remember them having to leave in a hurry. So you didn't. Yep. So you actually didn't finish it then. You watched it. It sounds like you barely began it.
Yeah. No, I didn't. I didn't finish it. I couldn't do it.
So have you ever read the book?
I have not.
It's worth it. it's a good book. It's actually it's probably one of the best science fiction books ever written. Really, I mean, I don't know. It's a great series now. So let's see. There was a book in 1965, right? I think 65 or 66 was when it was first published, and then like it languished. It was going to be it turned into a movie earlier than it ended up being a movie. In fact, there was a person, a director named Alexandro Jodorowsky, of which they made a documentary about what his Dune would have looked like, and it's called Jodorowsky's Dune. I recommend that highly. So then, like, the story is a classic hero's journey. Dune is. It's got the story beats to it. The place of comfort. It's got the loss that one must endure. There's there's a whole thing anyway, and there's a desert, and there ended up being kind of like this similarity to a film that did end up coming out before Dune, called Star Wars. Is that Star Wars was Frank Herbert saw Star Wars and he was like, this is really similar to what I was
to Dune.
Yeah, but this is really similar to what I wrote. Now, what he wrote, he said. So now, Frank Herbert dies in 1986, I believe, or 87. And, and when he did, the movie had come out like I think maybe a couple of years before, and I think I remember reading that he might have enjoyed it. By that point, he had published 5 books, and in the Dune series, and there was a 6th one that had not been released yet. And then he died, and then his son helped finish the book and release it. Basically, that's Chapter House Dune. Wrong. Okay, so there's 6 Dune books for a long time, and then there's rumors that there's a 7th Dune book, hidden away that Frank Herbert was creating material for, right? But never got to. It was called Dune 7. It was this mythical Dune 7. Like there was going to be this book coming out. And then I think somebody, it might have been Brian Herbert, his son, found there was a safety deposit box, I think in Tacoma, Washington, or somewhere in Washington, and it had notes and floppy disks and all sorts of stuff, and it fleshed out the world, kind of like the way Tolkien had hit this big world, right? For the Lord of the Rings movies. And so, with the help of Star Wars Extended Universe book writer Kevin J. Anderson, he and Brian Herbert, the son of Frank Herbert, set about the task of writing more Dune books. And so they could have basically just gone right to Dune 7, but what they did instead was do a prequel trilogy that happens 30 years before the beginning of Dune. So there's the prequel trilogy is 3 books. There's House Atreides, House Harkonnen, and House Corino. Those are the names of each of the books. Also really good, but written after the fact. Remember, it's just the original 6 books. And set before. So that's not Dune 7. And then they do a prequel trilogy that happens I think 1,000 years before or something. It's it goes back even further to explain the origins of various things that have not been fleshed out yet. I think the Mentat school origins happened at some point. Or the idea, there's basically the machine wars where they have to fight the machines. So it's I can't remember what the names of these books are, but these are the books that are referred to when they talk about why there aren't any computers. Because there aren't computers or robots, really, That's why they have Mentats, because Mentats are human computers. They're able to do the complex, because computers are outlawed. Now, they don't say why, really. They do say that there was a war against the machines, but they don't say really much anything about it in the movie. Or it really in the book. It's just that this is something that's happened. So in these other books, this other three trilogy, they explain that much more. So now there's 6 more books, and then they write the books that come directly after 6 chronologically. And instead of 1 book, it's 2 books. So they make the Dune 7 into 2 books, and that tells the next chapter of the story and kind of finishes it. Or at least what it finishes is the world of the original 6 books, plus the prequel world that they fleshed out. Kind of brings it to a nice conclusion, I guess you could say.
So basically, it takes somebody a lifetime to read all those books.
I mean, it doesn't take that long. It depends on how long it takes to read 1 book, really. I mean, it's but that's just those. So that means there were 6, And then then there's 12, 13, 14. So now there was 14. And that was it for a while. And then they went back and started writing books between the existing original books. So now there's like a book that takes place between book 2 and 3, and one that takes place between 3 and 4, I think. I'm not sure about that last one, but definitely the one I said just before. But it's not important. The original book is the one that really kind of sets the universe and kind of like just explains what all this is about, because there's so much that's like done in voiceover to explain, why is this happening? I wonder if there's a thing. What did they mean by that? Like this is, do you know what I mean? Like they do this kind of stuff. Yeah. They do this in the movie Dune. There's all this, there's all this
voiceovers.
Like Max von Sydow, he was in it. Must pay attention to this Duke, or whatever he says, or this is an interesting prince, or whatever the hell. I can't remember. But, I like. Against my better judgment, I like this Duke. I think that's what he says.
Yeah.
That's my Max von Sydow, and it's very similar to Sean Connery, except it's Swedish. So that's they're in the same register, really.
Get off my lawn.
Who's that one? Is that Connery?
Sean Connery. Yeah.
Get off my lawn. Yeah.
Get off my lawn.
Fish, you're gonna stab you in the fish. Fresh with a fish. Face with a face? What? No, I'm gonna stab you in the face with a fist. You're gonna stab you with a fist? Sorry. What?
Junior, I'm sorry, but they shot us.
Okay. You call this archaeology? Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's a good film. So, so Dune. Anyway, it's the book is good. It's an interesting world. It explains what all the things are. That, like, there's really the movie, the David Lynch movie, added stuff that wasn't in the books, and it was an interesting choice to do so. But I'm speaking specifically of the secret weapon, or the weapon that they had, the thing that converts sound into energy.
Yes.
Like those aren't a thing. But the weirding way is a thing. Like his ability to
sound like he's possessed.
Yeah, but it like has this force behind it. Oh no, that's the other thing. That's the one where he gets them to when he the mind tricks, the ability to like influence him, like the Jedi mind trick. Huh?
Yep.
You don't need to see his identification.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
He can go about his business. Move along.
Have a good day. Move along.
But yeah, it was that stuff where they're like untie my hands and then blah 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 blah. Oh, by the way, so I don't know if you noticed that, but the woman who played Jessica, the actress who played Lady Jessica, and the actor Freddie Jones who played Thufir Hawat, their Mentat, they were both in the movie Kroll. Ah,
yes.
He was the wizard guy, and she was the Lady of the Web.
Yep. Yeah. That was a good movie, by the way.
Freddie Jones, by the way, his son, one of his sons, I think it's just the one, is Toby Jones, the actor who is in films these days, plays Arnim Zola in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Nice.
Which in itself is kind of a spoiler that Arnim Zola is represented at all, because a lot of people who read comic books are going to be going, oh, they're doing something with that? Or, oh, darn it, I didn't see these yet. I didn't know they were going to do something with that. It's like, I'm sorry. I'm saying... sorry. People have...
Well,
go ahead.
I'm hoping that the books are a lot better than the movie, because the movie sucked. I'm sorry. It sucked bad.
You might like the miniseries adaptation of it. You might like the one they did on Sci-Fi Channel. You should try that one. I'm sorry, but go ahead, yes?
Although, I will take that movie over another movie that I watched. I wish I didn't, but I watched because curiosity kills the cat. So this movie came out in 2002, and it's taken me from 2002 until 2019 to finally sit down and watch this movie. It was called Party Monster.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say, Dude, Where's My Car?
No, that was a good one.
That was actually
I'll take that.
Funny. That was a 2002 as well, I think, but I'm not sure.
Yep. I'll take that. I'll take that movie. I'll even take that movie over this cinematic piece of just why.
Which one?
That's all. No.
Oh, Party Monster. Oh, you didn't like Party Monster?
No. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
So, the way my brain works, okay?
Uh-huh.
is that my brain does retain important information, obviously, and stores it away, right? And sometimes it'll even take like useless information and store it away because, maybe somebody needs a useless piece of information.
Sure.
But if it's not important enough to me, I never remember it. So, of course, this movie triggered certain memories, and I remember that these kids were a thing in New York City because I remember watching a few Jerry Geraldo shows with them on it, but still not really registering who they really were until I watched the movie. And of course, this is a movie I wish I just didn't have to watch because, they were in a sad reality when like party time was over. Like they didn't know what to do with themselves. They were so drugged out and it was like really pathetic.
It's pretty amazing. A lot of great music.
It had great music. Don't get me wrong, but they were essentially getting paid to do nothing.
Sure.
They were like because don't forget that was late '80s, early '90s, so they were really like the first YouTubers or the first what society calls internet celebrities.
They're socialites. They were famous for being famous.
Yep.
Famous for being known. I mean, that's that's like the idea of the superstar. The Andy Warhol thing, where it's like of course Andy had talent, so he could get by on that, but. Like he actually had, the ability to draw and an interesting approach to photography. So I believe, anyway. Party Monster. So did you recognize Marilyn Manson in there?
Yes, I did. Christine or Christina.
Funny. Yeah, that was a funny role. I think one of my favorite parts of that film, by the way. I mean, I do like Chloe Sevigny. I can't say her name, but I like her. The actress. I think she was good in that. I do respect Macaulay Culkin's just going for it, and getting into the weirdness of the headspace of this character. It's because it's a character
absolutely.
that we've never seen him play this type of character before, like especially, or at least we hadn't at the time. Like, we'd seen Kevin McAllister and we'd seen The Good Son, although I had not seen The Good Son. We saw him in My Girl, and then I'm sure he was in other stuff. I never saw The Page Master, and these are I'm just talking about the ones I've either seen or I saw previews for. Yeah.
Well, Macaulay Culkin, when it comes to like The Good Son and Party Monster, okay, The Good Son was phenomenal. He played a really good, twisted, messed up kid in the head, but totally different from the character he had to play in Party Monster, who was like this. I don't even know how to describe this person with a mental disorder, really. I mean,
all right. Well,
don't get me wrong. I mean, very innovative by dressing up like that and everything like that. But
sure.
they took it to extreme levels.
Oh, So I was going to say what I don't know if it was my favorite part, but a part that I remember in a funny way was there when they have the disco in the back of the truck.
Yes.
Like a semi-truck,
yes.
or whatever the heck it was, because
it was a big box truck.
It was a box truck, and then they had set up a party in there, and it's like, and it's like moving it around, and people are just flailing, and it reminded me of I don't know, it was the first or the second Jackass movie, where they actually did that, and they put in, they're like, this is a semi-truck disco or whatever the hell it was, and they set up these cameras inside this back of the truck. And a disco ball and streamers and lights and a bunch of people on roller skates, and then and everybody just to the side and like falls on the ground, and it's the funniest damn thing for like a few minutes. There wasn't much of that footage, and then they get up and then this starting and stopping and like for real, it was just like wow.
Jackass was hilarious.
Jackass was pretty funny.
Do you remember when they got locked in the limousine with the bees?
No, I didn't.
Oh, yeah.
Was that the third one? Because I didn't see the third one.
Might have been the third one.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're all back there trying to kick out the windows.
God, yeah, some really funny stuff. They talk about Jackass on QI, actually, one of my favorite shows from the BBC. They talk about when it was like when they were doing the paper cuts between their fingers or toes, they couldn't look at it because it was just like it's one of those things that's like it's like one guy's like turning his back. He's like turning his back to us, like, look, tell me when it's over, like in the theater. And then one of the people on the panel was like, you saw Jackass in the theater? And he's like, Jackass is one of the funniest movies ever. And then one of them like pretends to hold a pipe and says, I prefer Jackass the novel. Jackass the novel. Yeah. That's a thing they would do. They'd pretend to be smoking pipes for comedic effect.
I'll tell you what. They successfully pulled off. I don't know how many movies and because they had a TV show too. So I mean, I don't know how many. I mean, they think about this. They successfully became famous and made money, all from hurting themselves.
Yes, it's true.
And Steve-O got the worst of it.
Did he?
Oh yeah.
And Knoxville got pretty banged up too.
Yep.
He got banged up when he made that Action Park movie. Well, it wasn't Action Park, but it was based on Action Park. You remember I talked to you about Action Park, New Jersey?
Yeah.
The
Adventureland of Death.
Yeah, the amusement park with just the crazy rides. There was a. Oh yeah, I remember we had to talk about there was a film I saw that had Santa Claus and the Ice Cream Bunny. I might have even mentioned this even since then, but there was this thing called the Steeplechase, which actually is out on Coney Island, and it was this thing that looks like basically horses. Instead of roller coaster cars, they are fake horses, and you just sit on the back of the horse. There's no guardrails. It didn't even appear to be any straps. You just ride the back of the horse on a rail, like a roller coaster. I mean, it wouldn't go like this, I don't think, but it was, and it's like, there's no way anybody would be allowed to do that now. That's just too dangerous, or with the right regulations. And it's like there are pictures from the 1920s or 30s of this thing in full operation. If you look, there's this elderly man, and he's got an infant sitting on his lap as they're on this thing. It's like never, you would never see that. Never now.
No.
And it's probably
that place lasted until when? Like 1996 or something like that?
Yeah, it reopened in 96-ish or 95 or 96-ish. I don't know if it's still open. I believe they have. I think they've closed down a lot of the dangerous parts and they rebranded it, and it's called something else now, but I can't remember what.
It is. Because I thought it was still abandoned, and it's not. It's actually, I don't know what they call it now, but it's something different now.
Action Park, New Jersey.
Action Park, New Jersey. Go there to die. What you got there?
This is a lint tribble.
A lint turtle?
Tribble. Like the
tribble?
The tribbles. It's a little creature. Now this is just dryer lint. This is a roll.
Oh, okay.
This is a roll of dryer lint, and it is big.
Okay.
As you can see, it is about the size of my. I guess it's not the size of my head, but it's pretty big. I have a few of these.
Okay, and what are you planning to do with those?
Hold on. Step one. Here's a smaller one. As you can see, it's not as big. I just realized I have a bunch of these. Here's another one. I collect these. Here's a smaller one. And I have them in. These are the two smallest ones. Now, so step one is collect all the lint, right?
Right.
And step three is profit.
Profit.
That's step three. That's right. Step one, collect all the lint. Step three, profit. That's a South Park joke. It's the underwear gnomes. Do you remember the underwear gnomes?
Yeah.
Step one, collect all the underwear. Step two, step three, profit.
Profit.
What's step two? Step one, collect the underwear. Step three, profit. Yeah, I don't know why I'm collecting these. Actually, I do think that perhaps they can be the material might be able to be repurposed into some kind of craft project.
Maybe.
It's clean pretty much. It's because it's from
dryer lint.
It's dryer lint. I mean,
from clean clothes.
From clean clothes, and it's like this stuff just accumulates. So it's like there's a lot of this stuff, and it's kind of got a consistency of like cotton. I've seen people bleach it and kind of weave it into a paper or fabric type. I don't think it can be spun like wool because it might be the pieces that make it up. The tiny fine pieces. If I were to pull it apart, it might be too small because you need something that will hitch together like wool, I guess, because wool is hair. So I don't really know, but there was so much of it being created. I started thinking, why don't I just save it and see how fast it accumulates. Basically, it's like it's like, why not? I'm doing laundry every day practically. This started a year ago, by the way, so I've got more than this. This isn't even as much as I have. I have not here, but I do have like in a box somewhere in different colors too. Like there's orange ones and yellow ones because it comes off of like fresh towels. Like if you get fresh towels, it's like the first thing to gum up your lint trap is all the particulates of new towels that come off. So it's like you get one that's like yellow because you get yellow towels, and it's like, oh, that's cool. Like to put it with one of these other ones. I just think it's really funny to have a bunch of lint now. I don't know, but I mean, what the. What if you could do like, how do you get your lint cigar? Or, it's our lint dildos. It's like there's no reason other than there's two reasons. One is I think I might be able to use them for something, and the other one is because I think it's funny.
You're definitely right. It is funny.
But yeah, I've got a box somewhere that's just seriously full of dryer lint. It's fine. Look how big this sucker is. This is like this is like that rye bread they bring to you in the Outback, or when you go to the Outback restaurant, they bring you like the bread to the table. It's a huge loaf, or a small loaf of bread. I mean, this is a small loaf of bread size. This one is. Where is it?
I was just picturing someone coming to your door and just knocking on your door and then slipping you some money and then you handing them a brick of that shit.
Don't tell anybody where you got this.
Exactly like that.
And look at that. It's just crazy looking. It also kind of looks like zombie cotton candy.
Absolutely.
Because it's grayish, purplish,
You could put like a little white stick, a little white cone on it, and be like, here you go, here's your cotton candy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Oh my God, I'm dead. That's funny. I know what you could do with them.
Puppets. Yeah, sorry. What?
Yes, you can glue eyes to them and mouths and shit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I could. I'd have to put them on a stick or something, but I think I have a stick around here somewhere. I'm sure I have a stick I'm sure I'll have stick left over from when I make my puppet arms.
Some type of spray, to seal them so they don't come apart.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm going to stick to mount them on. So if it's,
Yep. Yeah.
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 I wonder where that bag is. It's somewhere in there. But I also have a lot of yarn too. But I make stuff with that, so that's part of what got me interested. Mostly it was this, just I wonder how fast this accumulates. Because I didn't have a kid, so I had a lot more time to just go. I wonder what's going to happen with. Got another year. What can happen in a year? See how much lint you can accumulate. Turns out you can grow a whole person in a year.
That's true.
Or at least a small person. It grows into an older person rather, not always a bigger person. Don't want to be sizist.
Well, he's going to be a little bit taller than you.
Oh yeah, he's probably going to be taller than both of us. He'll probably be taller than me and Laura, generally speaking. Oh, Laura says hi, by the way.
Oh, tell her hello.
Okay, I will. She's sleeping right now. So. But if I need help her with the kid, and she'll knock on the door, the wall, and then I'll be like, excuse me, and I'll peace out for a second and come back and then let her know that you said hi.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'll tell her tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Unless she's still awake when I go to bed, and I remember.
So now,
just belaboring the point. It's no point for me to. Oh, but if I'm too tired, I might just go right to sleep, and then I might forget to tell her. So, oh, but I could write a note to myself. Unless I can't find a pen after I get done with this, and then I won't write a note to myself. Unless I look for a pen now, and then I might forget to use the pen. So I'm sorry. I'm just doing more of what I was doing. Oh yeah, but I can't use that pen. That pen's there.
That's right. This pen's over here on the east side.
Yes, on the east side of the country.
East side.
East side. So anyway, what were you saying?
I don't know. I was talking about the pen.
There was something about lint. It wasn't the lint though. It was something else.
It was something. Yes, it was something that if Laura would still be awake, you would tell her that I said hello.
Mm-hmm.
If not, you would tell her in the morning, and then you said you're going to leave yourself a note. But then that was too much trouble to leave a note because you couldn't find a pen.
Oh.
And even if you found a pen, you can't necessarily remember if you knew how to still write with a pen, or if you remember for me to for you to say hello to Laura. There you go.
I realized I was doing a lot of unnecessary qualifiers. Or I was just doing 3, so I decided, well, how many more unnecessary qualifiers can I do? It's like, how else can I make this, I'll do this unless this happens, and then I guess this will happen. Unless this happens, but then I guess this will happen. And just keep doing that, There's like kids' storybooks that are based on things like that premise. Like Mike went to the store, but before he got there, he ran into, he saw a marble on the ground. He picked up the marble and put it in his pocket. And he headed off down to the store.
Just like a good little boy.
Yeah. And then he ran across, he saw whatever, it doesn't matter. And anyway, by the time he gets to the store, he realizes he doesn't need anything there anymore except maybe some milk. Or like maybe he went to get some milk and it's like, oh, he forgot the one thing, and that's a punchline, wah, 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 and then he's got the,
Which, by the way, milk's expensive.
Is it?
Oh, hell yeah.
I don't really drink milk anymore. But I do buy it. I just don't drink it. So I don't know. I haven't drunk milk as milk in so long that I don't remember how much I used to pay for it.
Milk's not a very good thing to drink because it does clog your arteries. Builds up plaque.
Yeah, it's not good. Well, it's good for teeth growing in the early stages, but, What was that thing about inflation? Or is it progress? Well, they say progress. The quote is progress, but I think it's actually about inflation. But they say progress is spending $3 on a $2 haircut that you used to pay $1 for when you had hair.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. It's not progress. It's inflation.
Yeah, it is inflation. But I think that, they used to say that was the thing. And then
because it can't be progress if everyone's too broke to buy that $3 haircut that used to be $1 that now got jacked up to $2 in the name of progress.
Mm-hmm. The place I used to get my haircut when I was really little had, I think it had a little, what do they call them? It's a needle point. Like, they're mounted and it's done with crust. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know what those things are called. I think they're called samplers, but I don't know. And it said, today is the tomorrow that worried you yesterday, and all is well. I was like, I like that. So I've always remembered that.
It's a good saying.
Yeah, when it's true. Sometimes all isn't well. But yeah, it is a good way of being like, if you're just going to waste your life worrying, basically, which is easy to do. Like, today is true. The tomorrow you're always worried about, never his mind on where he was, what he was doing.
Yoda.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is true. I mean, if you think about it, if you can't worry about what's going to happen tomorrow, you can only worry about what's going to happen today. So just focus on today and worry about tomorrow when tomorrow happens.
Yes, today is the tomorrow that worried about yesterday, and all is well.
Yep.
Anyway.
Aside from what is today, but tomorrow's yesterday.
Yes. All tomorrow's yesterdays.
Yep.
Something.
Something. I got to thinking about the planet, right?
Are we back in the show?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
I got to thinking about the planet, and there really probably is a really good reason why we haven't discovered a way to travel faster than the speed of light.
Well, okay.
Because we're assholes. That's why the aliens don't want to talk to us right now.
Oh, I see. Are you basing their desire to communicate
communicate with us on the Star Trek kind of first contact thinking, where it's like once we demonstrate that we have warp capability, that's when the Vulcans show up.
Well, yeah, but not only that, but if you watch Star Trek Enterprise, it goes deeper because basically it talks about how the Vulcans have then spent the next almost 100 years telling Earth that it's not ready to travel beyond the boundaries of our solar system. But of course we do, and they're very highly disapproving of it. But yeah, I mean, we don't have warp capabilities right now, and I do believe that's why the aliens don't want to do anything with us except abduct us and stick probes up our backside.
Isn't that something they made? See, now I pretty much have only seen one episode of Enterprise, and it was the first one. And so Archer, that's the name of Bakula's character?
Yes, Jonathan Archer.
So is it now? I do remember. Now this is all kind of very fuzzy. So do I remember? He's not fond of Vulcans.
No, he is not.
And he does have a Vulcan on board.
Yes, he likes Dad. He likes Dad Vulcan.
He
DePaul,
does.
Sub-Commander DePaul. Yes,
Okay.
but she had to earn his trust, basically.
So he's generally distrustful of Vulcans, though.
Yes.
And then now was his father as well? Or there was some kind of like, or it's like he feels bad that his father never got to be go into space or something. There's some because of the Vulcans holding people back, or something. Was that part of his character?
Well, his father passed away, right? So his father was the one that built the first warp drive engine that can go warp 5, and that's in the very first Enterprise. But obviously the Vulcans were holding them back, and obviously he couldn't live long enough to see the thing go into the ship, and then his son captaining, being the captain of the ship, essentially.
So there's a certain amount of bitterness that he's holding on to because of that. Right.
And he also believes that they're trying to sabotage their first mission into space.
Really?
Yep.
So yeah, I think this show is probably available on Amazon Prime, and I have
Netflix too.
Yeah, but I don't have Netflix. Actually, they keep recommending stuff on Nooner, the podcast I do the Tumblr for. They keep recommending stuff on Netflix, and I don't have Netflix, so but you do. So actually, there's one that they recommended last week, and it's a movie. I don't know if you saw the preview for it, but it's called The Wandering Earth. No, I did not. So that it's supposed to be pretty good. It's also was really successful over there. Insanely successful. Based on how much money was spent on it versus how much money it earned. So it's like the latest big kind of must see foreign film kind of thing. So I'll check it out. So it's called The Wandering Earth, and I haven't seen it yet. But I did see the preview for it, and it does look good.
I'll tell you, I will recommend 2 Netflix shows right now. One is the Haunting of Hill House. There's only 2 seasons. And Sabrina.
All right. And if I... actually, I could think of one that I can recommend. Stranger Things Season 1 and 2.
I will check those out.
I actually bought those because I was pretty sure that I would like them, and I did. So... I get lucky sometimes. Well, I don't know if it's lucky. I think it's just the show is made for people who enjoy looking at things that are created to invoke nostalgia, or where there's attention to detail in the era that it's set in, and making it look like that era, and kind of also evoking E.T. kind of, that because E.T. was a movie of its time, and it kind of looks like E.T., in the sense of it's a bunch of stuff. There's a lot of reasons to like it. Also, the acting is great in it, and Winona Ryder's fantastic in it. Spends most of the first season being completely beside herself, and it's the best acting I've ever seen her do, and it's pretty cool. And let's see, Matthew Modine is in the first season at least. Have you seen Stranger Things, or do you know of it?
Oh, I know of the show, but I haven't watched it yet though.
It's basically a series that's those good movies where they're from the kid's perspective, like Stand By Me or stuff like that.
The Goonies,
where it's essentially that is it is like that, where it's set, it's the kids, and the kids are actually really interesting. So that's and they're great actors. It's really great. It's a really well made show. Yes, it looked like you were going to say something.
Yes, another show like that from a teenager's perspective would be Riverdale.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen it
Based
yet.
on the Archie characters.
Yeah, it's Dark Archieverse.
Yep. Can you imagine like everything having like a dark version of itself?
Yeah. We had a conversation about this a few shows ago. We did. I mentioned like the mirror universe in Star Trek, and I was like, one of us is like has a goatee and is in gold. Like I'm the one with the goatee in the mirror universe.
Yes.
As a great.
You were the.
Sorry.
You were the evil. You were the evil Tyson.
Let's just turn around and.
Exactly.
Right, look at the menacing look. They did that on MST3K, Mystery Science Theater. There was an episode called Last of the Wild Horses, and in it, how familiar are you with the world of Mystery Science Theater? Because I'll be talking. I'm talking to you, but I also, like there's going to be people out there who know what I'm talking about, but I'll make sure you at least know what I'm talking about. So before I get too far into it, because I don't want to.
I've seen a few episodes.
Okay, so but you're aware that there's mad scientists underground that are subjecting people in space into these experiments, and that's part of the premise of the show.
Yes.
Now the people underground have changed throughout the years, and as have kind of the people up there have changed a little bit, but more so the people on the ground. So during the era I'm talking about, it's Dr. Clayton Forrester, played by Trace Bilyeu, and TV's Frank, played by Frank Conniff. Who also, by the way, have their own podcast about movies that I recommend. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's something with the Mads. Movie Time with the Mads. Movie Sign with the Mads, because they were the mad scientists. Anyway.
Yes.
So there's them, and then it's a season with Mike Nelson instead of Joel. And so it's Mike, Gypsy, Tom, and Crow. And they're up there in the satellite of love. And it's dropped very early on that Dr. Clayton Forrester has a matter transference device. Right?
Right.
So he's like, he can't find it. He's like, Frank, where's the matter transference device? And Frank's like, I wasn't using it last, Clay. Like it's a hamster ball or something, or no, what's something you would use? Like it's a brush, a dish brush or something. Like I wasn't using it last. I don't know where it is. No, it's a matter transference device. It's a very casual way to treat this, to story-wise treat this information. Anyway, so. And by the way, at this point of the program's history, they have hooked up what's called the umbilicus, which is this tether, this geosynchronous orbit tether from Deep 13 underground, where their lair is, to the satellite of love via Gypsy. Gypsy is the one that's that made out of kids' car seats, turned upside down in a flashlight with the one big eye. It's with the girl's voice, Jim Mallon. They're like, Gypsy. I can't do the voice anymore, but I used to be able to do. Well, anyway. Hi girl, that one. So the Mads are now connected to Gypsy, and this is a thing. So they're like, we're going to send you up this matter transference device, and it's just going to go up there. And then Crow, it goes back up to the screen. And Crow's like, there's a bit of an ion storm going on. Do you really think it's a good idea? And it's like, a little bit of thunder, and look around like, because the anyway, and like nonsense, what could happen? And of course, what ends up happening is that it triggers mirror universe. Mm. So two people. So it ends up being we enter the mirror universe, and it's Tom and Gypsy have zapped together into a place where there's an evil Mike, Crow, Tom, and a good. Frank and Dr. Forrester. So like the first segment where they would go into the theater and watch the movie, this Western called Last of the Wild Horses, it's actually Frank and Dr. Forrester, the mirror universe, Frank and Dr. Forrester, on the other side of the theater in the screen, on the other side of the screen, because usually the robots are down on this side. People seeing the podcast can see where my hands are because there's a visual here, but so it's like, Tom. Tom's on the end. It goes Tom, Joel, or Mike, and then Crow. And, or is Crow on this end? I can't remember. It doesn't matter. Anyway, and then, they're on this side of the theater. So it's like in the mirror universe. But the first indication that there's something wrong is that, they're like, well, they walk back and forth, and it's like the lights, and then you see a satellite of love going this way and a satellite of love going that way, and then flish flash, flish flash, flish flash, and then cut to, what are they on Deep 13? I don't know. Anyway, and it's Evil Mike, and he's basically dressed like Evil Kirk from
Star Trek.
So he's got a goatee, and he's got like a gold lame kind of shaped sort of vest type thing that he was wearing. Like, and he turns around and it's Evil Mike, and he's like, ha, 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 ha. But I can't do it. My face is too friendly, but it's like the evil maniacal laugh, like he's back, and then the camera pulls back, and there's Evil Crow going, ah, 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 ah. So it's now Evil these, and it pans over to Tom and Gypsy, and they're like, what the hell? But Tom hasn't figured out what's going on yet, but like Gypsy's instantly aware that something is very wrong. Anyway, so the rest of the episode unfolds. This is just like the first like 10 minutes of the episode that I've been describing, and it's one of the more early kind of unique, like, what are we going to do with this format stuff. It was really it's one of my favorite episodes. So as people who are like the whole mirror universe and the spin-off homage type culture that it's created, check out that episode of MST3K. Also, if you're a fan. If you're not a fan of MST3K, that might be a weird one to start with, but I'm not sure that would be the worst one.
Definitely a weird one to start with.
Yeah. Like there's this episode of Good Mythical Morning. Red has this character called Damiel. Damnyell. It's like one word. They're like, Daniel? No, Damiel. Damiel, yes. And Damiel wears this, what looks like an otter's head with a bunch of hair named Richard. And he refers to it as Richard. He's this weird character. And then like this has only happened a couple times. And then since then, they've introduced this character called Cotton Candy Randy, which is Jordan Morris of Jesse Jordan Go,
right.
A podcast. Jordan Morris dressed up as this weird, like, kind of like a children's fantasy character. He's called Cotton Candy Randy, and he has a cotton candy beard, and he's like, "Hey, daddies." He's got this weird voice, and talks to like he's like, "You want to hear a sweet nothing?" And then Rhett's always like, "Yeah," and he's like, "I made an outfit out of discarded lint." Or something like that. It's something like that, And then but he doesn't like Link. He doesn't like Link. So then he says something like, "Hey, you're gonna sleep sometime. Everybody's got to sleep sometime, big boy," or something like that. It always says something mildly threatening to Link, and then leaves. Like it's a bit, right? So there's an episode now at the end of. I think it might have been the first time that this character of Damiel, like they just get sent this thing, and Rhett decides to put it on his head, and then instantly he's developing this character that becomes like a T-shirt and everything now. So he starts doing this character, and it's this really spacey, weird but funny character, and then Cotton Candy Randy comes in and is also in this scene, and then it's like what's going on, because the show never really does anything this surreal at this point. It's pretty straightforward. It's funny, but it's not like anyway. So Jordan actually says, like, in character, more or less, it's like they're talking and whatnot, and there's Damiel on the screen, everything's weird. He goes, "Hey, wouldn't it be funny if this was somebody's first time watching one of these programs?" And it walks out. It's like, yeah, that would be a really weird time to start watching. If that was your first Rhett and Link, you'd be like, what the hell is this show? What is it? What is it? But it wouldn't necessarily be the worst thing. I do find it funny that Mr. Morris called attention to that, because, yeah, it would be hilarious. It would be strange. Like, what is the weirdest episode where, like, if you, ideally, if you want to get somebody into a program, you want to get them in from the beginning. And since we can now, since people got entertainment on demand, but let's say there was something that was I don't know why this would be a thing. Like what, but like in a world where this is a thing, can you think of an episode of a show that would be weird for a person to start with? Like you'd be like, people would be like, "Hey, yeah, I'll just, I got this one from the library or whatever." That could be a thing. Yeah, it could get you could get episodes of Star Trek from the library. You used to be able to get them on VHS, whatever it is. Well, it'll be a weird episode for people to be introduced to a show from.
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I want to say Sabrina, but then again, all their episodes are weird, so it's kind of hard to. I want to say like Arrow.
So there's a weird episode of Arrow where it would be strange to start from that one.
I don't know the episode number, but probably when they had Damian Black on the show.
Okay, cool. I don't know who that is, so I will discover that at some point. That wasn't series 1, right? It's further.
Just further, it's series. I want to say season 3.
Okay. So at some point I will see that. But yeah, so I'll have to look out for that. You know, I think about it. That is a really difficult question to.
That is because you have to recall like every single episode of something.
Yeah. Like it's like you have to have seen it. You have to have seen enough episodes of something that you could single out a particular episode as being an odd one in order to recommend to somebody. Be like, oh, well, don't start with this one because it's like, who would start in the middle of a series? It's really kind of a BS question. I'm sorry, Hunter. I'm sorry I subjected you to that.
It's okay.
That's the worst thought experiment ever.
It's like, that's a BS question.
Why did I do that to you, man? I'm sorry, but I appreciate you taking a stab at it. Maybe
no, absolutely, dude.
Maybe it's only because I had that one example, and I'm like, well, what other examples would there be? I mean, if something, I don't know. It's you know, there's not very many episodes where they put. I don't know if there are any other episodes where they have the Mads in the theater. They certainly don't. I don't think the parallel universe Mads ever come back. I mean, the whole scenario is resolved by the end of the episode. But there's actually, oh no, you know what they might, because they have the Hex. There's a thing in Mystery Science Theater called the Hexfield View Screen, and these characters kind of pop up every now and then through it. Like, oh, something's coming through on the Hexfield View Screen, and then they go like that, and the camera pans over there, and it opens up, and it's whoever it is. You know, sometimes it was Jan in the Pan. Jan in the Pan is the lady who's a head in a pan. From the movie The Brain That Wouldn't Die, also called The Head That Wouldn't Die. And I was like, you probably haven't seen this movie, but or these shows. It's fine. It doesn't matter. It was Mike Nelson's first episode as host. Anyway, it was Mary Jo Pell as Jan in the Pan. Yeah.
To make a question of that caliber, more I guess. For someone to easily answer it better, it's like, instead of like saying, okay, like, well, watch this episode because it's the weirdest, darkest episode, and this is what you'll start with, to an entire show that's just weird to begin with, Pee-wee Herman's Playhouse.
Pee-wee's Playhouse, the TV show that ran for like 2 seasons, was it? What about it? Yep. You're saying it's weird overall, or what?
It's just weird. It's just weird overall.
Yeah, I that was one of my favorites when I was a kid.
Oh, mine too. But it was just strange.
Oh, it was very strange. Yeah, it'd be hard to like. They're all weird. Why would anyone you start? But that's the thing is like anyone you start with is pretty much the same level of weird.
Right.
Yeah.
And really, I mean, but it does make perfect sense because here you have a dude living by himself. You know, with talking furniture and everything talks and has feelings and, he's got a head in a box.
Oh, Jambi.
Genie.
Jambi,
whatever.
Yeah, Jambi the genie.
Yeah.
So. Like he doesn't live there. That's his playhouse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's because he comes to play, and the people stop by. It'd be like living in the treehouse or something. Like people would be like, oh. Pee-wee's in his treehouse. Let's go. Or Hunter's in his treehouse. Let's go visit him.
Well, you know what? And I mean, look. This is my theory, of course. Okay, so now you have Pee-wee. What was it? Pee-wee's Big Adventure, or whatever it was, when they like ripped off his bike.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And he's the only one on the entire block that doesn't have a normal house. He's got like technological gadgets that no one else has.
Oh yeah.
I think he's an alien.
He's got a breakfast machine. Yeah.
Yes.
It's like the breakfast machine in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Yes.
Which makes me think that somebody there really enjoyed Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. But I always like seeing some kind of contraption in films, some sort of Rube Goldberg-esque device. But it was a really efficient breakfast machine. And the music is great. It's one of the best like score moments in film is the music that goes along with that breakfast machine.
Yes.
Seriously. Like, I'm not even...
Seriously. Seriously,
I
but
don't
still,
know what it's called, but it's it's Danny Elfman, and it's a great piece of score.
Pee-wee's still an alien.
Maybe.
Yeah. Who doesn't necessarily care about your problems?
Oh, I don't know. He was trying to do educational stuff. I remember Pee-wee's Playhouse.
No, I'm talking about in Pee-wee's Big Herman's
yeah.
Big. Yeah.
That's right.
He portrayed a version of Pee-wee who just didn't care about your problems.
When did how did he manifest that in Pee-wee's Big Adventure? I don't remember that.
I can't really go into detail and explain it. You just have to watch the movie. It's just something that I know that just is.
Oh no, I've seen the film. I'm just trying to. I'm trying to imagine him being particularly. I'm trying to remember the scene where he was particularly dismissive or jerky.
Just watch it.
Just kind of an asshole, It's like,
in that movie, he was kind of an asshole.
They had this great bike. This rich kid tries to buy it from him. Yeah, it's not for sale, Frances. Yeah.
My father said everything's negotiable, Pee-wee.
It's like, so what would have that start? It's like, it's my birthday today, Pee-wee, and my father says I can have anything I want. It's good for you and your father. And guess what I want? A new brain.
No, your bike.
And he falls over laughing on the floor. What's so funny, Pee-wee? It's not for sale, Frances. And now we've lapped ourselves. We've gone back in a circle. Yeah, we just did the Ouroboros of that scene.
Because that movie is so memorable, though.
Oh, it's a great movie. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
He was just trying to find his bike. Meets a lot of strange characters along the way.
Yep.
Lynn, I can't remember the actress's name, but the one who plays Miss Yvonne in Pee-wee's Playhouse and in the Pee-wee Herman show, the original stage show, that the HBO special, I think it was. Did you ever see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where there's on stage in front of a live audience, and it's kind of like what essentially Pee-wee's Playhouse sort of was kind of like an
adult version,
an elaboration of. Yeah, it was more adult. It was it
was more adult,
definitely more adult. But Clocky was in it, and Clocky showed up in the second season of Pee-wee's Playhouse on TV. Anyway, what was the question?
What was the question?
Yeah, I derailed myself again.
I forgot what the question was now.
I suck.
No, you're fine. Salted almond butter.
Salted almond butter. Yes, it's another edition of Tyson Saner Taster. I'll throw it at the end here. Basically,
so what is it?
It is a candy bar. Well, it's a chocolate bar. It's 55% cocoa, so it's going to be another kind of dark chocolate. It's kind of like the ginger in dark chocolate that I had. It's actually from the same people, or the cherries in chilies, which I didn't really like as much. I don't think. And this one, the sound salted. Okay, so salted caramel good, almond butter good, salted almond butter probably good. Salted almond butter with chocolate could be fantastic. Not sure, but it's from It is from Chocolate Loaf. And then, of course, I'll probably end up giving the rest of this to my folks. But I'm going to try it here. So, Hunter, have you ever had almond butter?
No.
Never.
Never.
Do you like nut butters in general? Any nut butters? Do you like peanut butter?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Some people really don't like peanut butter. And I do, but I can't eat it. So, I got to avoid peanuts in general. I think I've had good luck avoiding them, I should say. And since I cut them out, I've discovered that there's great alternatives, including almond butter, which I don't really buy very often because it's actually pretty expensive compared to peanut butter. But I did get some on sale, and like in the jar, it's expensive. When they add it to stuff, it's less, whatever. Like this candy bar wasn't expensive compared to like how candy bars usually are. So I'm going to break this off. But like another one, sunflower butter is actually really good. Also, since I don't have anything on bread, sometimes the experience is Well, it's usually transferred through I shouldn't say sometimes. It is transferred not through a piece of toast or something, which would, peanut butter and toast is, whatever it is, it's great. Like, I can't do a sandwich. It's fine. But, I do rice cakes. The rice cakes are kind of their own beast. It's the ASMR portion of the podcast.
You seen that episode too, huh?
Episode of
Bill Maher when he was talking about that 2 weeks ago at the end of his episode.
No, I didn't. I just.
Oh, now that was a terrific. Terrific coincidence then, because what you just did, he was talking about how like at night he has to relieve stress, so he watches videos like that.
Oh,
and he's like talking in a real low voice like this.
Whispering. You're talking directly to the inside of your head.
Yes.
So we want you to be comfortable. If you aren't comfortable, we aren't happy.
And enjoy this clicking sound if you can hear it.
I'm going to rub my hands together very slowly. I'm going to rub the microphone.
Isn't it relaxing?
I'm going to do the raindrop sound. There it is. I don't. It's probably not as relaxing. Maybe if I did it a bunch of times, but I get a big red mark on my face.
Probably.
Ow. 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 Oh yeah, you can kind of see it forming now. Yeah.
Anyway, that's the ASMR portion in the middle. So yes, it comes in large divisions. You can see instead of your 3 or 4 squares or whatever. So seems to be I'm going to say these are roughly. Have you ever had Caramello?
No.
Candy bar. It's a caramel and chocolate. Simple. Simple, elegant, caramel and chocolate. This isn't that. This is Choco Love's salted almond butter in chocolate. Cheers.
Cheers.
I'll bite it. I don't think I'll pop the whole thing. Okay. You can see the cross. I'll show you the cross section.
So that's the salted nut right there, right?
Yes, that's the salted nut butter.
Good.
Sorry. Think about ASMR chewing noises. Sorry, I had some stuck in my cheek, and I didn't want to. Actually, I'm experiencing an intense amount of salivation. I apologize. That'll help. Okay, yes, that was very good. That was probably better than the ginger, crystallized ginger one. That could be the best one I've tasted. In fact, one of the reasons why it's so good is because not only do I have to avoid peanuts and peanut butter, but I also have to avoid peanut and peanut butter type candy, including things like Butterfinger, Reese's Pieces, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. That's a bummer.
Ooh, that is a bummer.
Are really good. That
I can eat the whole bag.
Really?
Oh yeah.
How many are in a bag?
Like those mini ones?
Oh, I was thinking of the 2 that come in the sleeve.
No, the real the small ones. But you can get like a bag of like just individual ones, like in a individual square.
They come like Rolo sized.
Yeah.
I
can eat a whole bag.
Oh yeah. So yeah, that's really darn good. That's definitely the best one. Basically what it does is because the peanut butter in Reese's Peanut Butter Cup is also slightly salted. It's not just pure sweetness. It evokes that taste. And I can't have Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, but I can have that. And that is delicious. And also...
Is it similar?
In taste, very much, very similar. And also, I'm looking at it, and it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 10. You can kind of see the bumps there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can see the bumps. There's 10 total segments, and they're about 3/4 of the size of a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup each, but there's 10 of them, and this is like I don't know, it's maybe $2.50 bar of chocolate. No, it's not a bar of chocolate, but candy bar. I guess you'd still call these a candy bar technically. Gourmet, which isn't bad. Like, I mean, Reese's in the 2 Reese's in a sleeve is like, I don't know how much is 2 Reese's in a sleeve. What are they? They're not $1. Are they up to $1 now, or are they like?
Yeah, they're like $1 and change now, man.
Okay, so like then you're looking at like 6 to I can't do math. 5. Yeah, you're looking at $5 to $6 for basically the same amount of. Well, I don't know about the same amount, but it's the experience of putting the chocolate and the peanut butter in your mouth and filling them together, and then Cobra yawning all over the place.
It's part of that inflation, or I'm sorry, progress.
The progress. Yes.
Right.
2 Reese's in a sleeve.
Which costs $1 and some change.
$1 and some change. That and $1 will get you. That and $1 and some change will get you 2 Reese's in a sleeve.
Right.
2
Because
Reese's.
that's all it's gonna get you. Just like in the beginning of that movie, Trading Places, when the butler goes up to the 2 rich brothers, and you're like, "Oh, don't think we've forgotten about your Christmas bonus." And he's like handing him like $5, and the one brother's like, "Don't forget, part of that 5 came from me." And he's like thanking him and stuff. And he's like, "I could take myself to the movies now by myself."
I
Because
remember
it was
that.
$5.
I can take myself to the movies. Something. It's Denholm Elliott. Yeah.
Yes.
Rest in peace. God, he was really funny in Noises Off.
Absolutely.
Did you ever see Noises Off?
Yes, once.
I'm going to revisit that one. There's a lot of funny people in there. It was a really funny movie. Well, that's about all the time we have for Antisocial Show. I'm Tyson Sainer.
And I'm Hunter Block.
Be decent to each other.
Absolutely.
Have a good time, folks.